Hi there, this video is going to be all about super duper awesome keyboard shortcuts. Now, I'm going to go through them all here, all the ones that I think are amazing. What I'll do is I'll create a shortcut sheet at the end of this course. Okay, so there'll be a PDF that you can go download. I don't have it yet because I haven't made it, but you'll be able to jump out to bringyourownlaptop.com and then click on this button here that says resources. Okay, so here are all my shortcut sheets for other products. You might be using some of these other ones as well, so download those. There's a PDF you can download as well and print out. So there's an InDesign one here, that's for my intro course. It's gonna have a few of the shortcuts we cover here, but I'm gonna make a new one for advanced super duper people. There's some other InDesign ones down the bottom here that I did a long time ago. There's an InDesign one. Okay, so there's lots of shortcut sheets here under the resources. But let's go through now and do them together. Back into InDesign. Okay, so the first one that I use quite a bit is the X key. So I'm going to click on this guy and I'd like to adjust the stroke and the fill. But we all know that these little guys here, like you're always too small to click on. The X key just kind of toggles between the two. See, X, 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 X. It says I want the fill to the front and then stroke to the front. Okay, so I'm going to have a fill of red and a stroke of yellow. You can see just nice and quick to toggle the X key. That works in Photoshop and Illustrator as well. Another one to do is I like the backslash key. So I select on him and the fills at the front. I just hit the / key actually, which your question mark is normally. Okay, mine's down next to the period or the full stop. So look for your / and that just says clear it out. Have no fill. You, no fill. You, no fill. Just a really easy one. Add a fill, just hit the comma key and it fills it in with a fill. You can use the period key as well to add a gradient, but nobody wants to add a gradient. So the main one is the /, but if it doesn't have a fill, you can hit the comma key. All right, let's get into something a little fancier. I felt like that was going to be a really cool first one. Maybe it's not. Another one that I use quite a bit is Command J or Control J on a PC. Go to page 1, hit enter. I know it's not really a shortcut, kind of, but when you're working with a long document, you're like Command J, down to 10, return. You can turn it into like a little smooth motion, and I find I use that shortcut quite a bit. That's Command J or Control J on a PC. Another one we've used quite a lot in this course already is Command J, go to page 1. I want to make the font size bigger. Okay, so I'm going to make its box that it goes into bigger, and then I just hold down the Command Shift and then hit the full stop. Okay, so if you're on a PC, it's Control Shift full stop. Makes the font bigger, and if you use the comma key, it gets smaller. It's actually the greater than and less than keys, but I find they're easier to find when you say period and comma. Okay, so that's the font up and down. Leading and kerning, so let's say I want this collection here to tighten it in a little bit. Instead of going up to here and finding the tracking in here, I can just hold down the Option key on a Mac, okay, or the Alt key on a PC and just use the left arrow. You can see it just tightens it in. Okay, the right arrow opens it up. And you can do it per letter just by having the cursor flashing, the same keys. So Option in and out or Alt in and out on a PC. Just if you're a bit of a tracking kerning fiend, okay, you can go through and just quickly do these. The other one you can do is leading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break these onto 2 lines with return. What I'm going to do is actually find some text in here. Actually, I'll find you on this next page. I'm going to select these guys, and I could do my tracking, okay, with left and right, but if I hold Option down, okay, or Alt down on a PC, okay, you can play around with the leading without having to go into down here and find this one. Okay, so left and right is tracking, and up and down is the leading. Now that kind of brings me up to one I kind of said between these two. Like toggling between these two is a real big pain. It's a hard shortcut to remember, but take your time, write it down, practice it for the next week, and you'll save a huge amount of time. Okay, and it's basically Command Option 7, okay, on a Mac, and you can see it just toggles between them. Super useful. On a PC, it's Control Alt 7. I'm forever on character, okay, when I want to be on paragraph, and whenever I want to be on paragraph, I'm on character. It's always backwards. So I select on here, Command Option 7, and I can get my space after, and I can play around with that. Then I want to go back to character, and I've got it up here. You might disagree with that one being a shortcut. I use it all the time toggling between these two. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so the next one is when you're working on documents with spreads, okay? We probably all know that Command 0 will kind of center it. So if you're moving around, you go Command 0, it just centers the page. Problem is you want to see the whole spread. So all you need to do is hold Command and Option 0. So on a PC, it's Control Option 0. Just kind of like centers the spread. The other thing you might have known is if you use page down, okay, for some reason it just kind of weirdly offsets. It never goes to the next page. It kind of does that plus a little bit more. So what you can do is you can hold down Option Page Down, okay, and it will toggle to the centers of the next spread. So good. Okay, so if you're on MacBook Pro like me, you don't have a page down button. So in my case, I have to hold Function, Option, and then hit the down button, okay, or the up button. Print out the shortcut sheet, write them down, practice them for a little while. If they still don't stick, they were never meant to be, but I find that's a really handy one. Now let's jump back into that document we had. Now let's say I want to bring in some text. Okay, I'm going to go down to my page that I'm wrecking. This one here. Let's get rid of you. So I want to bring in some text. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Place. But it's some Word documents, so I would like to have I want to show the import options. So I'm going to go to my exercise files. I'll open up maybe the magazine, and here's the magazine text. But I want to turn this on. And we all know if I turn this on and then I click open, I get the options, which is really cool. But then when I go to bring in my image next, I forget to turn it off, and this thing appears. You're like, oh, I'll go and turn it off, and you never remember. And it annoys you for long enough, and eventually you go off and go to Place and you turn this thing off. Okay, what if there was a way to turn it on temporarily? Okay, there is. So all you need to do is say, I want to bring in magazine text, hold Shift while you click open. It will give you your import options, but it only turns it on for that one singular time. So now you can go through and do it. And when you go back to File Place, where are you? File Place, you can see it's still turned off. So just hold Shift when you click on your file, click open to get some extra options. Okay, next one is a kind of a selection trick. So let's go up to page 1. Now I've got this kind of structure where I've got a QR code. Underneath the QR code is a gray box or a black box. Underneath that is an image. So it's a bit of a kind of a rigmarole, everything. So to get to the image, I need to drag him off and then select on him. So the trick is, with your black arrow selected, is hold down the Command key on a Mac or Control key on a PC. Click this top one. That gives you the gray box. Click again, and I've got the image. Hit delete. That's a way of selecting things underneath each other if there's a big pile of stuff on top. So just keep holding the Command key. If I click on him, hold Command key, clicks the black box, then clicks the image, and then eventually comes back to the beginning here. So it just cycles through all the different things to click on. Little side note, that works in Photoshop as well, which is super handy, especially when you've got loads of layers everywhere. Okay, next trick is to do with master pages. Now, on my master page in this one, I've got all of these guys plus this, and it's applied to all the pages. But let's say I want to turn these off on just one of the pages. Let's go down to the last page, and let's say I don't need them on this page, but I can't click on them, or can I? Hold down Command Shift on a Mac or Control Shift on a PC. Just click on them. They get kind of like ripped out of the master page, and I can say goodbye. Same with him, goodbye. These are still part of the master page. Can I click on them? Okay, and if I add anything to my master page, it'll still be part of it, but it's a nice trick to uniquely remove things. So let's say that you've got page numbers on all the pages, but there's some that just don't need to be there because there's maybe an ad on it or something. You can just Command Shift and click on them, or Control Shift, click on them for a PC, and that pulls them out. You could not delete them. You might just change the color of them or the layer order or something, but it's a great way of dragging them out of the master page and making them accessible. Another trick is power zoom. Okay, let's go to 7, and let's say we're zoomed in and we're working on New Zealand because it's awesome. Want to zoom out? All you can do is hold the spacebar. Okay, so the spacebar, remember, is our kind of moving around. But if you hold spacebar and you click and hold, it kind of zooms out, and then you can let go over here. Okay, so it kind of goes in and out to the same zoom level, which is quite nice. So I can hold my spacebar, click and hold the mouse. Comes out. I want to look on this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, so that's power zoom, and it's just to do with spacebar. You just hold your mouse key down for a long time and it will zoom out. That particular one works lots better in Photoshop as well. It's useful, and I know it from Photoshop mainly because when you're retouching and you're in there close, you can do the exact same thing without having to zoom all the way out, move across, and zoom back in. Okay, next shortcut is kind of like temporarily using one of these tools. Let's say we live our life in the selection tool. That's the one we use the most. Okay, but we want to use our rectangle marquee tool, which is the M key. So instead of switching to it, drawing it, and then having to switch back to this, okay, what you can do is just hold the M key down, which is the shortcut for this one. You can kind of see in the brackets there. So if I hold down the M key, I can draw my rectangle, and it just snaps back to the last one you were using. Type tool, hold down the T, drag out your type box, and then let go, and it goes back to the one you were just using, which is this guy. So zoom tool, hold down Z, Okay, draw a box around stuff, let go, and it jumps back. So you just hold it down, the shortcut, while you're using it, and then it will snap back to what you had previously. Now I'm saving this one to the end because it's the best. It's the most useful one, kind of. Now you've got to hold down pretty much all the keys. Command, Option, Shift, okay, on a Mac, or Control, Alt, Shift on a PC. And what it does is, watch this. If I hold those down and then click on my object menu, can you see what it's done? It's alphabetized all of my list. Okay, without it on, it just goes into these not random, but like we all kind of spend ages going, oh, it's in here somewhere, and you're trying to find it. But you know what it's called. You know the first letter. So hold down Command, Option, and Shift. Click on it, and there he is, all in alphabetical lists. Okay, I wish this worked on all the Adobe products, but it doesn't. Okay, just kind of like works in InDesign for some reason. I love it though. It's a cool little shortcut. So that's going to be it for our shortcuts. Short and sweet, I know. Let's go through now using our amazing new keyboard shortcuts throughout the rest of this InDesign course.